Hello, world. Welcome to our podcast. We are doing a very YOLO episode today because the podcast that we actually filmed for today had a lot of background noise, aka our very noisy air conditioner.
And neighbors.
We
love our apartment.
Apartment living for life. Hopefully not. So, today I was actually listening to a podcast, Trent and James, and it made me think of a question because they were talking about unconditional love in the context of the Bible and also outside of the Bible. And this one dude, it was the Ed Milet podcast or something like that. I don't know. But gave the dude a compliment and said, "You're really good at showing unconditional love." And I was thinking about it. And then the other guy he was interviewing was this was a different podcast, he was like, "My wife showed me a lot of unconditional love." And it made me think, do you think humans are capable of unconditional love?
Man, unconditional love.
'Cause I would say you have a deep love for me, but I would say there are conditions to it.
Well, I want to say I listened to the TED Talk of the Columbine shooter.
Uh-huh.
And sorry, this is just where my first thought was, but I could come up with conditions easily. Now, they're crazy, outlandish conditions.
But they're conditions.
But even to an extent, I think there exists some level of caring about somebody.
Yes. But is it a love or is that what love is then? It's just a deep caring. I guess, how would you define love?
I don't know. That's going to be
a deep fondness for someone.
But that definition's going to change depending on every situation, scenario, or just kind of what context you put it in. So I just don't know if you can. It's a very living, breathing definition.
So would you say the definition of love changes throughout our relationship? Your love for me, does the definition of love change throughout our relationship?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think all relationships should. Yeah. I don't know, maybe not between a parent and child. I feel that just
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about that today, and I was I think if I would ask my mom, are humans capable of unconditional love? I think she would say the closest thing to unconditional love is a parent-child relationship. But do you still have conditions? I mean, and obviously there are a lot of parent-child relationships that are conditional. You hear lots of stories of a child doing this or that and the parent saying you are no longer part of the family or whatever it may be. So it just made me think one, are humans capable of unconditional love? And two, even if we're not capable, how does one show love in a way that gets as close as possible to it? Because let's say, for example, I get annoyed with you for playing lots of games.
like how I wanted to finish my
Yes.
online chess game before we started filming.
Yes.
Which I won, by the way.
Or sometimes our place is not as clean as it could be, and he likes to play games, and I get frustrated. So is life. But that doesn't make me not love you. Maybe it doesn't make me like you in the moment, but I still love you. I still want to be in your life, and I want you to be in mine. But how does one show unconditional love even in a moment where you don't fully like a person? You're just alrighty. You could use some work.
But you can also you can love idea of something, which like is someone goes and does like a really bad thing, but like that person like that loved them inherently still loves the person in like their head or their idea, like
Yeah.
like before that day.
Like
So
everything that they'd known them to be prior to
yeah, maybe
that
everything
day.
other than like what they did,
What
but
they did.
whatever someone like did, if like they
Yeah.
go and like murder like
Yeah.
10 people, or you can still like, I think that love still exists for somebody, but it's buried very deep and
Very
probably
deep.
never um but I think like love in like a relationship has to be just like a dedication and a choice a lot of the times.
Like it's that constant choosing of
Yeah.
that person. And I think that's something that I've thought about a lot recently, because I mean, I know we've only been together for like 5 years, almost married 2. But it does get to a season where you're like, I don't know what the right word would be, but you've been around each other so much that it's just like you want like some, not like a newness in like a different person, but newness in like you want like more sparks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just
Like
like
it
a
just
almost
becomes
like
very
a
platonic.
new like log on the fire. I don't know.
Yeah. And so that's something I've thought about, where I kind of felt that way of just like, it felt like we were, a midnight campfire instead of like the 10 p.m. campfire, where it's just like the bonfire is really going. Like now it's starting to dwindle,
Blazing.
just because we've been in it for a long time. In our perspective, obviously, there are people who've been in much longer relationships than we have been in. And it just made me, I had to almost like refocus and be like, well, I could like find a million negative things or just be annoyed at like small things. But what if I just changed my perspective? And so today, when I was thinking about that question about love, like how much of love is just a perspective? Like I think there's that saying of like, put on your they have rose colored glasses or something.
Yeah. Well,
where,
if you, it's just, I don't know, it's so much easier to like point out like negatives and stuff.
yeah, and I think our world does do that.
And if you like, if you have the same positives for like every day, and you just almost become like blind to it until it's like not there.
Yeah.
So like it just becomes a commodity. If someone like if I made you a latte every day at 8:00,
It becomes
and
an
like
expectation instead of
1:00, like at some point you're like, it's 8:05, like where's my latte?
Where's my
Or,
latte?
like,
Instead of appreciating like,
yeah, you forgot syrup in this one. Like,
yeah,
this is trash.
I feel added.
No.
He does not make me a latte every day. Just so the world knows, just to clear that out.
I did today. I was feeling special.
I didn't drink very much of it. But that's because I told you, like, after running the 20 miles, like something, I don't know what happened, but my body just hasn't been taking caffeine in very well.
So this week, I think I've actually been drinking like a lot more caffeine. But
that's really interesting. Well, like after I was like, I don't want a latte. Like I just want some plain coffee. I drank what, half a cup maybe?
Yeah, you haven't.
The next day, I was like, I tried to drink a latte. Didn't drink much of it. So I don't know. I don't know what this long distance running does to you, but apparently for me, takes away the need for caffeine, which feels weird.
I mean, yeah, we've had a really busy week. This is Shannon's birthday week, so
24, baby.
24.
We talked in our previous recorded episode that has now gone to the trash.
It's still saved. Everything's archived.
But about our boy Kobe.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace.
That was just such a wild day, like getting that notification, and then it was leaked.
Isn't that
on
crazy
TMZ.
that was 3 years ago?
I know.
Jeez.
But I
Because I
like.
celebrated my 21st birthday
Yeah.
in the COVID era at home. That's when you got me my Baltimore shirt.
Oh yeah. I've gotten a little bit better at all my gift giving.
Yes.
I got her a Lamar Jackson merchandise.
I can tell the story because I
Okay.
think it's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah.
So it's my 21st birthday, and because it's COVID, we drove down to Colorado. We were at school at the University of Kansas, drove to Colorado to spend with my family during the 2 week, what did we call it? Decline period or whatever, trying to get whatever we were doing for the
It was
2 weeks.
2 weeks to slow the spread.
Slow the spread. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that thing. That's what we were in Colorado. So we're like, let's go home. He was in the office, but obviously with the slowdown, I was like, hey, you want to go to Colorado with me? And he did. And obviously April 13th, that is a ways after whatever day we went there, like a month probably.
Yeah, this was one of my last days there, cause
Well, no, cause you left like right before Mother's Day.
yeah.
Yeah, so you've still had a couple weeks.
Oh.
But so we're at my house, at my parents' house, and Trent was so nice and got me a gift. And
I thought it was a really good gift. It was a really good
granted,
gift.
he did ask Megan's, my sister's, approval.
Yeah,
of
I got
the gift.
approval, and apparently she just didn't really appreciate it as much as.
Megan has told me, quote, she thought it was adorable.
Yeah.
That's what you thought I would want.
Yeah. Well, she lost consulting privileges for anything you want, so now I just kind
But
of.
I
do
have
my
told
own
her, I
thing.
said, you need to be honest. Like, because then I just tell him, like, what made you think, like, Lamar? Anyway, back to story. So I open up the gift, and one of them is a 3-piece backpack set. And it says, you're awesome on it. A little, like,
It was real
black
tiny.
thing.
It was like an Amazon thing.
And I had one more semester of school, and he was like, yeah, I just thought, you needed a new backpack because I had resigned from being an athlete. And so he's like, and I was like, I just don't want to wear the athlete backpack, just the vibes. And
This one was like a good size. It fits your
and
computer, everything.
I remember thinking, I was like, I cannot, like, I'll feel like I'm in kindergarten. I'm going to be like a senior in college and feel like I am in kindergarten. But it was very sweet, and it came with a lunchbox and a pencil holder.
Yeah.
I think we still have the backpack too.
I know we use it for our dogs now, so
Yeah.
I mean it works
because
out.
they're the kindergartners.
Sure, okay.
But then I opened up the next gift, and it is a what do you call them, baseball tees? Because like the 3/4 length.
Yeah, so my favorite shirt type is a 3/4 baseball shirt. So like it's
And
my favorite.
I cannot stand them. I hate a 3/4 lengths. I'm like, I either want them to where I can cover my hands, or I want them to where they're not bothering me. And also it was the Baltimore Ravens. And when I first saw like NFL packaging, I was thinking, oh cool, like Trent got me Giants gear because that's his team, and he's we're like official now. I mean, we'd been dating like 2 years, but I was like, because now I'm in the fan club of the New York Giants. Like, it seems like a big deal. And then it was Baltimore Ravens, and I remember saying, is this my like new favorite team?
Yeah, so Shannon just thinks that, if you're gonna be like, she's more on like the team side, but I'm more like player based, just because like within fantasy, and then how often players change teams, and it's more fun to root for 32 different players of teams than it is to.
I disagree. But he goes, well, it's Lamar Jackson. And I said, nice. So yes, that was, but you buy really good gifts now.
Yeah, I know you're gonna
that
enjoy.
One just cracks me up and probably always will, because I was just like, and at the time I didn't tell you that I didn't fully appreciate them. But then you did ask me one day, you're like, "Where's the Lamar Jackson shirt that I bought you?" And I was like,
Buried deep
like,
at the
deep in
bottom of
my
the closet
closet.
because she never wore it. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, a purple shirt would look really good with those pants. And then
No,
it,
I even tried to like cut it, like to make it more crop top like, but the sleeves just I couldn't redeem them.
okay.
And I'm sorry, but I'm a team gal. I will wear Giant stuff and I'll wear Denver Broncos stuff. I would probably wear a Dolphins jersey.
Are we Mike McDaniels fans now?
I was thinking Waddle because he sounds like a penguin and I like penguins.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's a pretty close reason.
I'd wear some Waddle gear.
I know I almost bought you the jersey for Christmas.
I was really sad. Yeah, you told me.
Because they didn't have your size. I think I was going to get the white one.
I like the white one. All white jerseys are the best. Every sports team should have all whites. But yeah, just with your birthday coming up, like you're turning 24, I wanted to just kind of, what I feel like with you though, like you get into this like state of mind. I don't know if it's like exactly called like imposter syndrome, but where you don't feel like you're doing as much as you can. And it's just really like refreshing to me to like view like average or median statistics. And it's probably like, I don't like the whole comparison, but it's grounding to be like, oh, like I'm doing okay. Or, we're doing
Not
fine.
always think you're below average.
Yeah. And it's just, well, one, I mean, I guess sometimes you can like look at it and be like, oh my gosh, like 90% of people are like more fit or run faster kind of thing. So, but just like with your marathon training, I looked and like the average like mile pace is like 10 minutes and 40 seconds for women. And you came back the other day and we have our race and you were like, yeah, I was running like a 7-minute pace.
Not for the marathon. I'm not running a 7-minute pace for a marathon. Just put that out there. I'll be running between 10 and 11 minutes per mile.
Yeah. So it would be the average, but that's like people's like 1 mile pace and like obviously over like 26 miles, which is like also another funny thing. Like I've had like, I'll be like, yeah, my wife's running a marathon, or like we're going up to Pittsburgh, go to a marathon, and people are like, oh yeah, a marathon. Like how long is that? And I think it's like pretty common knowledge to know, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's like 30 miles or 25, or like they don't have like
Any
the
idea?
26.2 or even a half. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just something, but like I always see those stickers. Although I feel like I see more of the 0 stickers.
Yeah.
As like a joke. I know, like, I don't know. We don't really believe in putting stickers on our car.
No.
Like to keep it pretty clean, but
I did my car as shipping paint, but
yeah.
So is life.
That is recalled. We need to get that fixed. We got
emailed
scammed.
2 of them and they keep denying me. Well, actually, my other dude just never responded. I guess I just have to get on the telephone. Make a phone call.
We could probably paint your car. Like get it if it covers. Like instead of going white, like we could do like.
But I like white.
Oh, okay.
What, you want it like orange? Red,
yeah, like
green?
a fun, like fiery orange would be pretty cool.
That's a lot.
Okay.
That's a lot of attention to the car.
But
I like to do minimal attention.
I didn't really find like a ton of like interesting stuff. I mean, just like normal statistics, like how much money someone makes or whatever. And I don't think that's like some fun or good to compare against. Like it's so different. Like you see stuff and it's like, CNN put out this article. It's like in New York City, you need $160,000 to
make anything.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, it's very different everywhere else. But one thing I did find interesting is just like women 20 to 24, like 44% were married.
I bet that's, and then for men, it's probably like,
I actually didn't see like the men comparison, but I just thought it was really interesting. But it was 28% of women 25 to 29 were married. So just like a
so it
huge,
just
yeah,
drop
like
off.
a gap. So I mean, I guess like maybe like a first marriage into that, or kind of like you're either gonna get married by 20 to 25, or then you're like gonna get married like 30 plus. And
Wait, so it was the 28% like of the total population, so it dropped off.
well,
So that many people got
of
like
of
divorced.
women 25 to 29, only 28% of them were married.
But between, was it 20 to 24?
It said
40,
43%.
43%. So,
Which I don't know. I mean, I found these online. I find that really hard to believe.
but I'm just wondering if like they take into account people that are already married by the age of whatever.
The way this was worded is like they are married, not that they got married at those ages, kind of thing.
Okay.
So it
That
would be
means
the
they
total.
did get divorced or something
Yeah,
happened
but
there.
I just thought that was super weird. Like, just kind of. And then obviously I don't know if they're like that correct. I mean, I was
Can I tell
googling stuff.
a story that I've thought about a lot the past? Well, I just thought about it today actually, which is why I decided I was
Yeah,
gonna say it
I mean,
sounded a lot. But something that always freaks me out is early on in our dating life, you told me, quote, "Yeah, I've always thought I would die young."
yeah,
And I think about that. I thought about it on our wedding day because I'm like, because I've always been like, I invest heavily into like the relationships that I want, you know, and I just like a few people, but I love those people with everything I have. And I just sometimes think, I'm like, shoot, like, I don't know if that was like prophetic, like, am I going to be alone? And so I just want you to know that like every probably few months, I do think of you saying that and have a mild existential crisis.
I feel like that was a long time ago, like
Oh, it was.
five,
It
6
was
years.
probably in our first. I don't know if we were. I don't even know if we were dating, because I remember it crossing my mind, being like, "Well, do you want to be with someone that might die young?" And I was like, "Well, how the heck are you gonna know if they die young?"
But like you thought I was that like prophetic that I was like,
Well,
he's
I
right.
don't
He's
know.
always right. You know, like it's.
That's a stretch.
But I don't know. Like I don't know. I actually haven't thought about that now. But I think just like a while ago, like. But I get like so nervous with like even just like driving, like when we go on trips. I'm like, no, what's gonna happen to us? Or like, I hope the dogs are fine. Like if we get yeeted by some semi
Like
or.
I told you the other day that if we got kidnapped here in Atlanta, that like no one would know for
I know,
like
yeah, that kind
weeks.
of messed with me because like we don't like.
We
I
don't
mean,
have anyone like here to like would
would be
check on
like,
us.
oh, I haven't heard from them in a while. I mean,
It'd be our work that'd be like, these terrible people have not showed up all week. So, mom, dad, if you don't hear from me daily, okay, please just put out an alert in Atlanta for
okay,
me. Just put it out there.
yeah, but I mean, the Life 360, you know, like
That is true. If I go
my parents would probably
silent,
get worried if they didn't get my 10% phone battery.
yeah, they probably
'Cause
get that multiple times a day because I get it.
they definitely do. Because like I will like charge my phone up to like 20% or whatever, and then it just like once it hits like the 5%, like I'll
But
plug
I
it
think
in.
it's interesting because you tell me that, but I have always loved the idea of aging, and I think I talked about this on my podcast with my mom. But I do. And there's this trend on TikTok right now where like people are taking like pictures of them in their SO and doing like the old filter
Yeah,
to make see like what do we look like in 40 years.
we should
And I
like.
just love it
Oh,
because I feel like so many people are like, "Ugh, I don't want to get old." But like I told you the other day, sometimes I'll see like an older lady going for a walk while I'm going for a run or just out in the store just vibing. And I'm just like, man, like that's the age that I'm going to thrive in. Catch me being 72, just living life because I'll have done it. I'll have done all the life things and I'm just chilling with my gray hair and my shopping cart. I'm probably still like doing running or something. Pilates for old ladies. I don't know.
yeah. There is a lot of beauty in that. And I look forward to it too. Just like being able to slow down, having just maybe, I don't know, being in more like a position like eventually I know like we would like to kind of split off from the corporate world and like
Yeah.
do our own thing. So,
But I think some people will like put up a picture of their younger self and be like, I'm going to make her proud or whatever. But for me, I always like to picture like my 72-year-old self. Like I work out today so that my 72-year-old self can have so much peace and enjoyment with life because she'll have done all this work and she's going to live 72 so well. Like she's going to have so much peace, but she's still going to be able to like do what she wants. She's just going to be living.
how many years are you going to be 72 years old? Just from like 72 to like 80?
Yeah, I'm going to be 72 for a long time.
Okay.
Once I get to 72, I'm done counting.
Are
I
we,
don't know why 72 was the one. Maybe it's like 64. I don't know.
okay.
Wait, when's like the official like senior citizen? Is it 65?
65 is like when you can retire and start collecting Social Security.
Okay, so
But
that's
I
the
do
age.
believe that's been raised. It might be 67 or 68 because like there's not enough money's being like put in, so like Social Security is like getting kind of drained.
Yeah. Okay, so 68, I'll stop counting and I'm just gonna, well, because I think recently, especially as I'm getting ready to turn a new age, I like to like reflect. And this year has been a big like growth year in understanding what I want in my future and just like who I want to be, who I want to become. I think we're always going through that process, but this year has been very eye-opening to me in a like decreased materialism, and what do I really want is like peace and freedom. And I think the two are very much so correlated. But and so when I imagine myself older, I'm going to be thinking of all the stuff I've done now through whatever age. And that's why I want to live every day well now, is so that like I have so much wisdom and peace and freedom in my older years. So on my 68th birthday, I'm going to just be painting in my coffee shop with my 5 dogs
5 dogs.
and 7 goats.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I could not do 5 dogs.
Oh, but 7 goats is okay.
I can only do 2 dogs. 2's a lot. No, if we had a farm, I could do 7. Maybe not. So it's a lot of dogs.
I could not.
Holy heck.
That's a ton.
2
Now,
is a lot.
so would you ever get a cat?
If it's outside. And shout out to my dad, who let us get cats when we were like little nuggets. And we promised him that we would take the bestest care of them and that they would be outside cats. And they spent very few hours outside. So they were mainly inside cats. But we had them.
Yeah. Well, that's every
Rest in
kid.
peace.
Every kid's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of them. I'll take care of it.
I'll do all the work.
I'll feed,
I will train
water.
them. Can you imagine? Sometimes I'm like, well, the parents got to know like their kid ain't training that dog. You know?
Well, I mean,
Sit
I mean a
your
lot.
name.
I don't think most kids.
Although
can,
I've
like,
told you next time we get a dog, I'm sending them to a trainer. They're doing like the 2-week like boot camp.
yeah, little puppy training.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, I think if you have the money, it's probably worth it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we've seen a lot of improvement with
We have,
with our
thankfully.
just daily, like committing an hour and a half each
Although
day.
you've said that you would possibly like to be a dog trainer someday.
I think it'd be a lot of fun. Just almost like a side gig.
I'd be a dog. Actually, no, I couldn't be a dog breeder. I'd be sad.
Giving them away?
Well,
Or?
I don't know. I think I'd get worried about like if they had the right home, and then if one of the puppies didn't get chosen right away, I'd feel bad for that little nugget.
It's also like a lot like managing like the dogs and their like
Plus,
heat cycle.
that would be the thing for me is the heat cycle. Like,
also like raising puppies and the diseases, the shots, and like a bad litter going. So there's just It's like, when you're like a vet and you're like, oh, I'm gonna save all these dogs, and
That
then
reminds me of another thought I had today.
you just
So,
had lots of thoughts today.
do you want me to have zero thoughts?
No, I'm just saying. You don't always share all these thoughts today. So what was your thought today?
I do. I just should share them on our walk. Well, today's thought, I was thinking, so in kindergarten, every day after school, I think we had half days. I don't know. But
I had half day kindergarten. It was really
I
nice.
would come home and it would be my nap time, but I usually didn't want to take a nap, so my mom would put on Snow White because that was my favorite Disney princess movie. I loved Snow White. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, you know why Snow White was probably my favorite? Is she was a relatively introverted princess. She was just out in the woods hanging out with animals. And today my thought was, holy heck, that's pretty much like what I want in life. And I was like, man, my younger self really knew what she wanted in the world.
So you really feel like you connected the most with Snow?
Yeah, and I think that's why I liked her, was because I felt the most connection with her. Like, just being out there with the animals, pretending like they can talk back to me, even though I know they can't. And then some old nasty witch coming along and trying to yeet me. But actually, she just makes me fall asleep.
So
maybe not that part.
I know I've seen like most Disney stuff, but okay, maybe not. I've seen like most of them, but there's like just a couple that either like I have no memory of or just.
Is Snow White one of them?
I mean, is that the one with the dwarves? Like the
yes, it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Sleepy, droopy, grumpy.
Yep.
Isn't there one that's like not
Dopey?
named Dopey?
It does have a name, but it's not in like a state of being, I guess.
Okay.
Unless you're doped.
No, I've definitely watched it. I just like don't remember it a ton.
Okay. Well, I guess we know what we're doing this weekend.
We're watching Snow White.
Yeah. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go. I can't whistle.
Okay. All right. Well, we're watching some
We just
Disney
need to watch
movies.
all the Disney movies.
Does that include the Marvel shows?
We've watched a lot of the Marvel shows.
I know we actually did. Now, we got very burnt out on the Marvel movies, and all of the new ones have been bad.
The new ones have been terrible. Like what was there was like a group of 4 and they'd like light up.
Oh, the Eternals.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely terrible.
It had.
They could do like anything they wanted. It was like not even a competition.
Well, that's kind of my issue with like the superhero stuff. It's like you get into this like big power creep where like the original like
Had like a few.
Also, it doesn't help like Superman, like unkillable. Like just too much. There's some bad superheroes, but like in the original, like the best Marvel movie is Iron Man, because decent villain, like he's got to overcome some challenges, and like he's not saving the world, but he's just doing it. But now like,
well, like in which one is it where Captain Marvel comes in and pretty much solves the problem and then freaking leaves?
She just shows up, but she only shows up at that specific time because she's like busy or there's lots of universes to save. And then
see, that just to me it just like ruins it, because I'm like, okay, y'all couldn't get a little bit more creative? You're just like, shoot, how do we get him out of this?
But that's why like people don't like the newest Star Wars, is because the main character didn't struggle with anything. They just handed her a lightsaber and she was able to like defeat anything and everyone, and like she was never like tempted by the dark side. So like she just had like perfect moral compass, like the most athletic and like most force sensitive. So like that's why the new Star Wars are terrible. So just Disney needs new leadership, and they need to figure it out.
There you have it, folks. Wait, didn't they fire like their CEO or something?
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's like connected to like their movie stuff, but the Star Wars lady's getting canned soon, which is pretty exciting. And
Wait, I thought you said they're making a new one.
they are making a new one. It's
So
basically
did they finish that and then she
No.
gets canned, or does she get canned and then they?
depending on how this movie does.
So it's probably gonna do terrible.
Yeah, no, she's gone.
Sorry, lady. Hope you find a new job. Just maybe not in the Star Wars industry.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know.
Thanks
if that
for ruining
classifies-
my favorite movie franchise. I really appreciate it.
Ma'am, it is not a problem for me because I didn't think any of them were good. Granted, as I told Trent and James the other day, because I kept recalling bits and pieces of the movies of Star Wars I watched, and apparently it's all the same one.
Yeah, she had watched Return of the Jedi, and so obviously she
Where
was talking about it. I
Leia-
was like, "Hey,
Princess
let's put it
Leia
on."
is
So
captured by the fat chubby thing.
the fat chubby thing.
The fat slug is what I like to call him. But I always want to call him Chewbacca, but it's not that. It's Jabba. Juba?
Jabba, yeah,
Jabba.
he's a hut.
I'm a hut. I disagree. Alrighty, folks. Thank you for joining in our very easy breezy cover girl episode tonight. And we'll catch you all next week. Bye.
Bye.